Hey there, Russ here. Welcome back to the shop. Hope you brought your coffee. We're going to do a little rambling today. First thing I'm going to talk about real quick is my gas caddy. I just did a video a couple of videos ago of that. And it's a 14-gallon gas caddy that you can buy for about $130 and up. It's supposed to work off of siphoning, but I switched mine over to work off of air pressure instead. And I just wanted to let you know, not only does the foot pump does work, but it does take a little bit of effort doing it that way. And there's no doubt about it. I bought one of these. This is the Ryobi, of course. And I used this, and I was able to pump 5 gallons of gasoline in under 3 minutes. So, piece of cake, no big deal. But this thing is kind of noisy, as you might guess. So, I can do it with the foot pump, or I can do it with this. It is an option. I'd probably, because on lazy days, I'd probably definitely be reaching for this thing instead. But it both work. So I'm really pleased with it. The nozzle and the hose, jury's still out on that. Might end up replacing them. The only thing that bothers me is that, in all reality, I really spent right at about $150 on this thing. By the time I bought the tank itself and then bought the pieces to make the improvements that I made, not counting this, because this is be used in a lot of things. I've been wanting to get one of these anyway. So I got maybe $150 wrapped up there with the foot pump and all. I don't know if it was worth that much money to do that. Yeah, it saves me trips going to the gas station now by having one nice 14-gallon tank. Although, speaking of which, I filled it, and I could not get more than 13 gallons in that thing. I don't care. I mean, it was right there at the top. So, how they talk about getting those, talk about 14 or 15 gallons in them, I'm not sure how they did it, unless that's a different tank than what they have. And I don't know if there's more than one or not. It says Duramax on it, which that's all I always thought that was the one manufacturer of that particular style. So, but 13 gallons is all I got in that thing. Anyway, I probably could have gotten by cheaper with 3 5-gallon cans instead, and then gotten one of those inexpensive pumps that you just take the gas cap off and you drop it down in there, and then it pumps the gas out of there and recharges with USB. They pump at 2.5 gallons a minute, so 5 gallons will take you 2 minutes to pump out. That might have been a little cheaper and easier way to do it than the way I did it, because the 5-gallon containers, I'm not sure what they cost right offhand, but I imagine a lot less for 3 of those than what it cost me for that one 13-gallon tank that I have. And the pump is probably somewhere between $20 to $40, depending on how good a one and what kind of features you might want on it. But anywhere in that 2.5 gallons per minute range, that's about what you'll pay for one of those. And you just want to make sure that it can pump fuel. And if it does, then it'll work fine. And if that thing wears out for the price, you could actually, it's cheaper just to replace it during thing. So I think that would have been a cheaper way to go, but there would have been a lot more trips back and forth hauling gas from my shed to my car and getting them out of the car and all that. So I don't know if it's worth the difference in price, especially since in that gas caddy, I still might end up putting a hose and a nozzle on it, replacing them. And if I do, that'll probably be another $50, $55. So that'll put me just over $200 into that thing. More than I really think I should have spent on a gas can, but we'll see. I've done worse, and I can't complain. Would I do it over if I had it again? I don't know. The jury's still out on that, but it's leaning toward probably not. But I don't mind having spent the money. Sometimes you buy tools and toys just because you can. So anyway, this one's kind of in that category. I like it. We'll leave it like that. If you have any questions about it later, if I ever think about it in a year or two, I may bring it up again, let you know what I think about it after that period of time, how it's been working. But I think it's going to work out at least, and it should do pretty well for what I want it to do. I think it's going to come out outstanding. So stay tuned to that. I pulled the trigger on buying this 9-volt battery. I don't know if I told you now. So I've been thinking about things, or not 9 volts, sorry, 18 volt. It's the Ryobi battery, but it's 9 amp hours. It's the biggest one that they make for the Ryobi system. And this thing is a beast. So I've done a load test on it once, pulling 11.5 amps, and this thing definitely has a little bit of power, a lot better than those 5 amp hour ones that I've been using for the last 3 years. So with that in mind, I'm thinking about my power box outlets. I wonder what I can really pull on this in amps. So I'm going to probably put this through some pretty harsh tests to see what kind of load I can put it under. Because if I can get this thing up there to 12 or even 15 amp hours, and I may be able to, and if I can, you can pull quite a few watts out of that. And that means that you're not limited to that 200 watt limit on inverter to run 110 electricity. I may be able to go a little more than that. Also, I think these things will be marvelous for ganging up to give you, instead of 9 amp hours, hook 7 of them up in parallel, and you'll have 18 or maybe 32 amp hours real quick just by having 4 of these. So I think these things are going to be very handy to have around, and I'm going to like the 9 amp hour, and the price has definitely been dropping on them. Like I said, $50 to $55. That's not bad for a 9 amp hour battery. So anyway, you might keep in tune. I have been working on this as a result, because I wanted, since I bought these, I want to be able to put those into their own little power box. So I'm going to make a couple of simple power boxes here. Just has a volt amp meter. This is a voltage regulator, on and off switch on it. So if I have 20 volts going in from the battery, I can turn this on and it'll give me my 20 volts on showing up here. And I can control the voltage, turn it down to whatever I want. Most of the time, I'll be using 12 volts because I'm going to be using the 12 volt inverters. I'm going to buy a couple more 300 watt, maybe, and a couple of different wattage ones. Right now, I think the biggest one I have is 800 watt. And that one I'm using with my 100 amp hour battery setup power pack. So, but I think maybe that with these batteries, I might be able to go a little bit more powerful. They're definitely going to last longer than the 5 amp hour ones. So I wanted to make a couple more of these power outlets. And it's just going to be this simple. The battery, it'll have a socket top. This will set down on the counter. You'll drop this in when you have a lid on there, a top. And this will just set here like this. You can read the voltage then here, adjust it here. This little switch controls the little fan behind on the heat sink. I put a little fan right there so that it will, I can turn that on. If I'm pulling more than about 4 amps, then I probably want to turn my fan on. Also, you don't want to turn the fan on, particularly if you're running it at 18 or 20 volts, because that is designed to run on 12 volts. So it'll run probably anywhere from 6 to 12 volts without any problem. But it's better than having no fan. If you need some kind of fan, I'd be able to possibly use that if I'm really putting this thing under a load. I think it's rated at 12 amps if I remember right. So if I can pull 12 amps out of this with this battery, that'll be kind of nice setup. So, so besides the fan and the regulator, I did put banana connectors on there. And then I have the 12 volt cigarette lighter type. That most smaller inverters have that cigarette lighter to plug in. So I'll be able to just take any inverter and plug it into here. And as long as I don't overdo how many amps I pull on it, this thing will work fine. So I want to be aware of what I plug this into when I plug the 110 piece into here. I want to make sure it doesn't overrate what this thing will put out, which won't be a big problem. But I think it'll be nice to have 2 or 3 more little boxes like this. It's a nice size. And if I had 3 of these, I'd have to take 3 batteries and set them up at 3 different places when no power around and be able to run different things from their own power supply. So I thought, and the nice thing about this, the reason that drove me to go here, this little board only cost $8. So I don't think I'll buy another one though, because I don't like the material used in making this thing. If you notice, see there, that green? That's a green connector for the wires going in and out. These are different than those blue connectors. Those, I could use wire ferrules, and to get a really nice connection with those on there. But on these are a little different, and I cannot even use the ferrule. And having the bare wire in there, I just didn't like it. So I did hot glue it in place to keep the wires sturdy so that they're not going to break off. But I don't think I would really use this over. If I do it again, I'm going to find a different one. And I probably make a couple different styles. Like I said, that other one I got does a lot more than this thing does. But most of the time, this is probably all I really need is this and power going in. And then an inverter to be able to run 110. And that's probably all I would do with something like this for when there's no power around here. She could run her computer on this for quite a while. I would say probably 3 hours easily. Just guessing right offhand. So, but I have to check, see what her rating is to know for sure. But it'd be nice if she had power for her computer when she's not on, when we don't have power because the power's out. Happens around here all the time. So I have been this year really focusing on updating some things so that next time the power goes out, I'll be better prepared to be able to comfortably run things from here without the electric power coming off the grid. So, because that is really inconvenient when that happens. And it happens way too often in rural areas. I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to adapt to it. So, anyway, that's the other thing this is the main thing I've been working on the last week. Is this little box here, trying to figure out how to get all that going. I still got to do the wiring now. Now that I've got everything plugged into where it's going to go, and make the Ryobi receptacle for the battery to plug in, and that thing will be pretty much done. So it'll be done pretty soon. The other thing I want to talk about real quick is what I've been doing is that dog has been driving me nuts. My shop dog Annie, we have doggy doors, one coming out of the house and one coming out of the back of the shop here that I put in. They're just slip-in doors that go, and I have sliding glass doors. These just set in there and drop in, so the door closes against it, and she can still go in and out. So she finally broke the one coming through the other one. She goes through those things sometimes like a torpedo. I mean, whoosh, right through it. It looks like she wouldn't even fit through there. And how she gets through them, I don't know, but she must have been hauling one time. She went through there and actually busted the frame apart on the whole thing. So I have to buy another one. I've been waiting to get it. I should be here Friday, so I'll have to put that on there and get that doggy door back in place. The last 3 or 4 days, you know who has really been a little twisted out because we've had to open that door to let her in and out. She barks at the door when she wants in or out, stands at the door and just barks until you do until you open it for her. This one, she still goes in and out, no problem. But so definitely those doggy doors have spoiled you know who. She really does now appreciate having doggy doors when you have a dog because they are nice. But that's another story. I don't know. There's a lot of people out there say they don't like to have doggy doors. I've done both ways, and I have to tell you, doggy door fan all the way. So if you want, tell me what you think about that. I think that would be an interesting topic, but I'm not afraid of doggy doors, and I'm not afraid of somebody coming in. I'm not afraid of an animal trying to come in there. As long as you have a dog to go with that doggy door that is worth its weight, you're not going to have any problems with anything but her going through that door. Trust me. So, doggy doors are wonderful if you have a dog. So, anyway, tell me what you think. I think that's an interesting subject that I don't talk about very much. And I did do a video, just so you know, I did do a video on that doggy door. So if you go to my channel and do a search at my channel for doggy door, it'll pop up so that you can see it. And it explains how I made one of those doggy doors so you can see. They're easy enough to make, and up to probably a 90-pound dog. I think she's close to 90 right now, 85 to 90. That door is only designed to be supposedly up to an 80-pound dog. She does squeeze through that thing for the last 3 years. She definitely fits through there tight. And like I said, she goes through there like a missile sometimes if there's something going on outside and she's in a hurry. And she goes through that thing, and I can't believe how she can go through that thing so fast. So, but I guess like anything, it's 8 years old and it run its course. It broke, so we're gonna put a new one in there as soon as I get it. And believe me, I've been told that it goes in the day that thing comes in, and she keeps asking about that. Is it here yet? Is it here yet? So anyway, so much for doggy doors. One more thought I was having is that I watch a lot of videos on YouTube. I probably spend more time watching YouTube than I do TV. Believe it or not, that's where most of my TV viewing is, actually watching videos on YouTube. Strange, I know. But I actually enjoy it. I enjoy not having all that 2 minutes of commercials and all that stuff. It's nice. It's a lot better environment. And I get to choose what I really want to watch. So anyway, lately, just so you know, I have been lately getting back into watching videos about narrow boats. And for those of you across the pond, yes. I knew that they have a canal system in Great Britain, in the UK, that is just, it's phenomenal. And it's, if you know the history of it, it's very interesting. Anyway, I used to watch, and I still do, a lot of nomadic videos. Also, it's one of the other things I watch a lot. I have several nomadic celebrities, I guess you could say, of channels that go through their life in living in a vehicle. And actually, I think if I was young, that's something I would probably even try. Around here in America, that would be awesome to be able to go all over America and see what we really have here in this country. And it's a shame that our country doesn't allow that sort of thing more freely than they do. I don't see any reason why nomadic lifestyle wouldn't be a cool way to live. And it'd be a great way to start off your life when you're young, because you're not going to be able to afford a house these days. So anyway, I was looking at the narrow boats in the canals of UK, and I have to tell you, it's really very interesting. And I realized that is a lot like our nomadics living in a vehicle. Something is living in one of those narrow boats, as they call them. And there's some other styles, but the main ones used on those canals, and the canals have been designed for those long, narrow boats. So if you don't know what they're about, go watch a couple of videos about narrow boats, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And be careful, because you may get hooked on it too. So, but their canal system, if I was retired, I probably would very much consider having some way to be able to do that, at least for a few years on a narrow boat. I would probably be very adventurous with that sort of thing. So anyway, you can check it out. That's what I've been watching on YouTube, besides my normal woodworking videos, which I still have several of those channels that I watch them all the time when they come out. Anyway, if you have any questions about anything or any suggestions, any good videos channels out there that you like that you think I might be interested in, I'd love to hear about it. I'm always looking for something new to watch, so just leave it in the comments. If you have any thoughts about anything here, just leave them down below. I do enjoy and read them all. If you learned something here or you like this video, hit that like button. Most importantly, please come back again, because I'm nowhere near done. Thanks, and we'll see you guys again soon.